and massages, which I had many. My fondest memory of you was when you traveled with Helena and I to the yoga retreats. It was great to see you have fun with a child, and being so silly, Helena couldn't stop laughing, especially at your silly jokes. You have great hugs and a beautiful smile. You love dancing, and at your potlucks would have music so others could dance also. You will be forever embedded in my memory as a constant seeker of truth, healthy lifestyle, and mental well-being, and will truly be missed. May the longtime sun shine upon you, all love surround you, and the pure light within you find you your way home. Love, Ravi Kaur, Rich, and Helena. Now, I had also known John through Debbie's health food, through the potlucks, and he had a wealth of information which he loved to share. He was a supreme teacher. If you didn't understand it, he would tell you how it works. And the last time I had seen him, he spoke at our annual meeting for the International Association of Metaphysics on January 30th. And he was still teaching. Okay? Still teaching the healthy lifestyle for well-being. And that is what I remember most of John, his teaching, and that he had a fulfilled life. And in your memory of John, think of how he fulfilled your life. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Bertie.
Hey, Bertie.
And I had the raw food groups for 10 years, and he only missed one out of 10 years. He was at every single one, and he shared the E3 Live with us all, whoever wanted any, and some were more piggies than other, but it's a wonderful thing that he shared, and we also bought our E3 Live from him and still take it. And of course, you all knew him, was the king of puns. You know? And in the middle of anybody's talking, he would always throw a pun in, always, you know. And his mind was always thinking about joyful laughing and things like that. He was a very special person. And of course, everybody saw how wonderful he danced, and many, many dances here on the dance floor. So I just wanted to say goodbye, John. You will definitely be missed by all of us. Thank you so much.
My name is Jeff Davis, and I knew John through ballroom dancing. He had his own unique style of dancing. Those of us who knew him dancing, a little bit different, but it was always a lot of fun, and I think other people have pointed that out. But one particular area that stands out in my mind is John's volunteering to help. My wife and I coordinated the outreach events for USA Dance in Daytona. And in the outreach events, we'd go to nursing homes and rehab centers, and we'd also go to facilities that had children, especially underprivileged children, and dance for the older people and interact with some of the younger people. And John was always great in interacting with everyone. I can remember we'd go and he sometimes, well, most of the older people would be sitting around the outside of the room, and we'd be dancing in the middle, and in between we'd go around and hold their hands. Many of these people get very little physical contact with other people, and John was there to hold the hands, sway you to the music with the people. But I have to tell you, the strongest picture in my mind is we went to a school for underprivileged children. And during the event, John made very close contact with a young girl. I don't know, maybe she was 7 or 8 years old, and was talking with her. And when it was time to go, this little girl did not want John to leave. And I think my wife will remind me, there was a little doll involved. And it was just such a touching thing. We have pictures, and I know Jean has prepared a video of some of the pictures that we had from the events. And there's one picture with John and this little girl. And it just leaves a very deep impression on me of the relationship that we had with John, and also that John had with all the people that he was involved with when he came to the outreach events. So I think people have mentioned here that John was a very giving person, and that exemplifies it to me. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Michael. I'm John's son. I'd like to thank everybody for coming out. It's nice to know that he was so well loved among the community. He was able to live life pretty much on his own terms. He tried it the traditional way, had regular jobs, decided that wasn't what he wanted. You know, he wanted to be able to call his own shots and choose to live life in a sense of harmony and peace. And he got into the vegan lifestyle early. I think I was maybe 3 or 4 when he started doing that. And I didn't like it back then. I was used to getting cheese and pizza and other stuff, and I'd go over there and he'd have sprouts and maybe some watermelon for me. Peanut butter was ground up peanuts. But he tried to make it as best for me as he could. We did a lot of trips to play racquetball or tennis or basketball, or he introduced me to ping pong, which I know he really loved. I was too young back then to do all the dancing, so I guess I didn't get it. But he spent his whole life pretty much trying to educate others, help others. Became a massage therapist when I was young and practiced that pretty much all the way through the end here. Maybe lesser in the last few years, but it was a passion. Just going through all his books, he was always studying and trying to learn new techniques, and other things too, philosophy, religion. He loved to learn. I didn't find any useless books in his apartment. So, you know, you go through, there's no, not against anybody, but no John Grisham or Dan Brown or anything like that. It was all educational or philosophical in some form. He loved to learn and he loved to share it. I'm sure some of you know that very well. He loved to talk. I did not get that. He did give me a book that he pretty much felt like, I guess, summed up the philosophy of life, and I think I left it over there on the table. I think he shared it with a lot of people. Some of you must have grabbed it. Anyway, it was The Supreme Philosophy of Man. He felt that that was a very important book for me to read. He also gave me the Health Seekers yearbook long ago, and I started looking through it, and I'm like, there's no way. I was looking at the meal plans, I'm like, 4 leaves of this and 4 leaves of that. I don't think I can do it. But as a testament, you know, I'm in healthcare myself, so I do see a lot of people, and there aren't many 84-year-olds that I know that aren't taking any medications and can still run and go dance, you know, 4 or 5 nights a week. So he definitely had a lot of information and lived his life in a way that gave him a healthy life, and it's tragic that he was taken this way, because I really expect them to be around a lot longer. But anyway, I'd like to thank everybody for coming out to celebrate his life, and appreciate it very much.
I didn't really expect to say anything today, but for those who don't know me, I'm Miss Cynthia of Let's Dance Productions, and I can't say what anybody else, a little louder. I met obviously John through the dance world, and I'm from New York State, and so was John. I met along the way a long time ago. My first visit with John is he showed up at a Halloween dance, and he was dressed as a woman, barefoot and pregnant. He needed my assistance to get his bra. He needed to know somebody had a pin. To know John is to know that it was just the best night. And that was nice. Who was that? Who was that crazy man? And it's been a delight ever since. And when you talk of laughter, that was John. John brought such great joy and laughter and made us all laugh. And then we found out we also shared the love of dance. And he was a teacher, yes, he was. He helped me many times. And I think the greatest time we've had was in the last year or so. And to have him a part of Let's Dance Productions when I put on the fundraising plays. And he did an outstanding job as the Grinch. And when everybody said, well, I said, you're not going to believe who I asked to play the Grinch. And I said, John Lynch will be the Grinch. And they all said, perfect. It was perfect. And it was perfect. And it was phenomenal. And many of the dancing friends here got to know him and touch his life. And we went on a cruise a couple of years ago and got to know one another. And he was our dance family. He was a part of us. And so, like I said, to share the memories and the joys, I couldn't even say a moment of just one thing that I could sum him up, because he was so many things in one human being. The last time I was in this room is we shared a dance. He asked me to help him with West Coast Swing. He was always a jitterbugger, and he said, I really would like to learn how to do this dance, West Coast Swing. So I said, well, let's do a lesson. And we came up here, and I said, well, John, this is just absolutely beautiful. You have the best. He says, I've had the greatest of times with so many. He said he cherished every moment and all the friendships he had made through dance. And I'm sure he always talked about his friends in the vegan. He always tried to get me to go to the dinners. I'm with you, Michael. I couldn't handle the Sprouts. I like my cheeseburgers, I guess. But we shared other things, our political views and different things in many, many conversations. And do I have any regrets? No. Other than a few weeks ago, he did call. And because of COVID, I had not seen John in about a year when our last play was March 17th, and that was the last time I had actually danced with John. And so he left me a voicemail, very nonchalant, just checking in, Cynthia, say hi, how you doing, give me a call when you get a minute. And that minute never happened, but so I think of everything I've learned, at least from today, to see everybody, is to cherish, and I'm sure John would want everyone to know, is to cherish every moment. Because you just never know. And so it's with happy thoughts that I say goodbye to John. And I'll see you later. Thanks.
Hi, I'm Alvin Barber. It's an honor and a pleasure to be here today. Actually, actually, my history goes back with John probably 45 years ago. I met him when he used to live down in Daytona, close to Mason Avenue. And I was in need of some of his services, of some massage work, and so I don't even know how I kind of got in his door, other than we used to go to a co-op we had here years ago on Loomis. If anybody's of my era, they may remember that. See any hands up? No? No? But somehow I got connected with John way back then, and he started working with me, and I was in kind of a very progressive mood of spiritual development also, and so we kind of aligned in those perspectives too, and also the physical part of massage work, physical therapy, and the things he was very expert at, even for way back then. And I still have one of his massage instruments that he was very insistent on people having, and that was the back knobber. And it's actually right now beside my bed, about that far away from.
Is there a bunch of balls?
No, it's just it's a big S curve thing like that, where you can really put pressure and come back. And he was like, God, everybody, not just me, but the whole world needs this one. And if anybody's familiar with it, it is quite cool. But John was always quite an interesting person and kind of an inspiration for me, because I was also getting into self-development, spiritual direction, enlightenment, and also into the whole realm of vegetarianism and plant-based diet. Of course, we couldn't say that back then. If you said vegetarian back then, you were from another planet. Or Avant things or esoteric things back then in the 70s. It was like very weird, very strange to others if you didn't understand. So I always found very much common ground with John. And so after that, I kind of got involved with a whole bunch of other things. I won't bore you with all the details. But I lost touch with him and didn't see him for years and years until I went to a couple of Purdy's law diet meetings. So several years ago I saw John, and it was such a pleasure to see him again and to speak with him. So we lost something like 35 or 40 years in between there, but we were kind of reunited through this mutual interest of the dinners we had. And I was very surprised, because I thought John was much younger. I thought he was my age. And to get the notice that he had passed, and but I do know he was quite dynamic, and I'm sure, up until recently, his personality and the way he used to be, and maybe even later. But it's been a pleasure knowing him, and I'm sure we're all feeling his spirit here.
Hello, everybody. My name is David, and so I was thinking about John. I knew John a long time. It's unbelievable how long it was. When I first came to Daytona in 1990, I took his class in holistic health, and he got me on a path to health. It's unbelievable. I remember he used to say at the time he was 54 years old and he still played basketball, and I said, that really was amazing. To this day, every morning I give myself a foot massage because John taught me to do that. He said you have to massage your feet because it gets your organs going. I think maybe I've missed a handful of times, like 30 years. I never had a massage before, and John started me on massage and health, and I tell you, when he dug in, he found places in me that I didn't even know that I had. I could still feel it. And it's such a small town because we shared dancing. My people mentioned He had an unusual way of dancing, but he was always on beat. I remember watching him with the cha-cha. The women, well, as people shared, women loved to dance with him, and I loved just to watch him because he was so into it. He was so creative when he danced. It was amazing. And so he just brought a lot to me. You know, when I think about it now, I know it's terrible what happened, but I will always think of John as being healthy because he really, and I don't know, it was like a few weeks ago, it was like 2 or 3 days before he passed away, I talked to him right there. And you know, we were talking, and he started rattling off all of his jokes, and I wish I wrote them all down. The only one that I remember, he said at one time he wanted to be a historian, but he gave it up because it had no future in it. So remember, if you want to pass something on about John, just do that. But what he left, we had this really heavy discussion. It just kind of happened. And he said he thought about, like, what's more important, to be healthy and concentrate on the outside or concentrate on the inside. And he said he really debated that. And I was like pins and needles, like, what did you come up with? You know? And he said the inside. He said, because if you work on your inside, everything else will fall into place. And that's what I'm going to remember about John is, and I'm really going to miss him. I know we all will. I really do love John, and I really am going to miss him, and I know he's up there. And I know he's up there, and I take a little humor, but I think he's got the angels around him, and he's saying, have some E3 live. You'll be angels forever. Thank you very much. Very nice to meet you.
It's not a lot for most of you know me from dancing, and you know, John liked to dance with me, and I liked to dance with John. You know, so it was a nice connection because often at a dance when there aren't enough men, you know, the women are looking for somebody to dance, and so since John liked dancing with me, you know, that was convenient for me. But yeah, he always told his puns, and shortly before we started today, I noticed the books over there, and somebody told me, well, you can take one, and I said, okay. So I was just looking at them, and I came upon this book, the little pun book. And everybody's talking about his puns. Maybe we should raffle it off, you know, for some donation, some charitable cause, and you know, what I wanted to mention was a few months ago I was driving down to Daytona somewhere, I don't remember why, and maybe for like a eye exam down in Port Orange, and I turned on the radio and WNDB, and lo and behold, John was on, and he had called in, and he was asking, you know, questions and making his commentary about, you know, the upcoming election and all that, and you know, I really enjoyed just, you know, listening to him talking on the radio, and I meant to call him after that, and, you know, with everything going on with working from home and, you know, the pandemic and all that, I just never did call him, but it's just another example of how John was involved in the community and really gave of himself and, you know, wanted to share his knowledge with the world, and this is such a beautiful testimony to his well-being, and I mean, to his, you know, self-giving. And one thing that came to mind also, just with all the beautiful testimonies and all that, is that, you know, sometimes we might think, well, he died before his time, and as we know, no, it's God knows, and but there's an analogy that, you know, God is like the divine gardener, and he picks us when we're at our peak. So anyway, well, Mr. John, have fun up there.
I'm Margaret Stevens, and I'm short. Wow.
I came to town about 12 years ago, and knew no one in this town. And the only thing I knew, I was walking the beach, drinking during the day and drinking a bottle of wine at night, and I thought, this isn't going to work. I remembered I liked to dance. And I got in the newspaper and I found this dance. And I put on my vest. At that time I was 50 pounds heavier. Until John converted me to health food. And I walked in, and I don't know if you know, but women, when they go to a dance, they'll scope the room. Who can I dance with? Who will dance with me? Especially 50 pounds heavier. And I looked, and way out on the dance floor, I saw John. And I thought, ooh, that guy marches to the same beat as I do. And we danced. I'm going to miss his dances so much. Oh my gosh, there were times I was down. And I think everyone that ever danced with John, no matter what, you left the dance floor with a smile. Sometimes you left with a hip out, but most of the time, but then he would work on your hip. So, John and I had many adventures. I don't know if all of you know, but we did commercials. He would call me up and say, hey, there's an E3 Live, we need to do a commercial. So we did several of those, and interesting enough, we usually would rent products, which we would divide and share. And the one commercial, I do hope some of you saw it. We did an E3 Live commercial. We did it just off the cuff. He called and says, we got to do another commercial, yada yada. And I lived right down the street, so I grabbed my house coat and my little shower cap. We kind of had an idea. And if you haven't seen it, please stay and see it. It's part of our finer productions, and we actually won second prize. The other thing we used to do, I'm the one who used to dress in Halloween. It actually started out because we also did karaoke too. I don't know if you know. Is Ellen here? He sang. Is Ellen here? But we were always the last ones to stay at karaoke. And that's why we came up with Play It My Way, because John would not leave karaoke until he sang that song. So we did the karaoke. But back to we also did the Halloween costumes. And every year I would dress him. And we don't have too many, we always won, but Mitch over here always won first place, and then we would win whatever. Well, if you haven't seen Mitch on Halloween, you need to do that. But we always won something. But if you haven't seen the commercial, please stay and see the commercial. I think you'll love it. Also, we're showing Jean worked until 4 o'clock in the morning putting the pictures and things together. If you want to stay, some of you saw it. I hope you'll stay with that. But also, if you go to YouTube, we didn't bring those because there is one event on there. It was our last time doing the Halloween show. John was next door at the health food store, and I was in the fruit store there at hospice, and I saw this wedding dress. So I got John, and for $5 he bought the wedding dress. And then we decided, well, what better thing to do at Halloween but to make him a pregnant bride. If you want to see this show, it is on YouTube. It's Man Gives Birth on Halloween, I think. But some people didn't like it very well, but we had a good time, and that was when I retired from dressing John. The other thing, and John and I shared a lot of, because then I learned about Hippocrates, I went to Hippocrates, and then we could dance and talk about lettuce. You know, so we had a real camaraderie, and that's when we got into commercial making. But I got a book. That was not be COVID. I took some days, so they're COVID free. But when we used to go to USA Dance, John, I'm going to blow his cover, forgive me, John, but John loved Big Dude. I have a video, Gene has a video someplace, and I saw him. He thought I wasn't there one night, because when I was there, he would always look around, is she watching? And he wanted to make sure no one watches. He would always go up and get the Big News. So with that being said, I think, you know, in honor of John, I would like to invite you guys to have a Fig Newton. I know on his birthday every year, I plan to be right here on the beach, again, bringing John Fig Newtons. I think he would really love it if you would help yourself to Fig Newtons. Okay? Don't eat those cigarettes. I'll pass this out. Anything else? Oh, let me just say while I have the microphone, I love microphones, by the way. The books are back there. Everyone help yourself to those books. Thank you. Thank you.
I have to follow Marty. My name is Marta, and I was the chapter president of the Greater Daytona chapter of USA Dance for 10 years. I'd like to thank John, because John always supported USA Dance. He was always at our chapter dances. He was always supporting the chapter-sponsored lessons. He would support all of our outreach events. He would always support the mall ball. And actually, I've been sitting there listening to others, thinking of the various things that John did. And I'm just going to leave you with this vision. Thank you to Marty. John, at our Halloween-themed chapter dance, dressed in a grass skirt and a coconut bra. Oh, and that's all I'm going to say. Yeah. Thank you, John.
I have pictures here of John dancing. This is the electric slide, was in ballroom dancing. But he was so kind enough to let me use this room 5 years ago for my 30th birthday party. And it was a milestone birthday. And here he is doing the electric slide. And Carol, I think you're in this picture, and David, I think you're here too. Some people in this room are here. So I brought these to share. This is October 28th. So he was out there doing the electric slide with us, so I thought you'd enjoy that. Does anybody else have something they would like to share? Come on there. Your call.
Hi, everybody. So, anyway, I knew John through dancing for almost 20 years. Every Sunday night, he would come out to the Sunday night dance, and he was always a, kind of a crazy guy. And he was very interested. You watch out when he's dancing. But that was John. And something a lot of you guys may not know about John, but he called that radio station all the time. Because I started listening to the radio station and the Mark Bernier program. If you never listened to it, John would call that thing almost every day, I guess, because anytime I turned it on, which wasn't every day, I would just turn it on now and then. Here comes John's voice. I'm like, you can recognize John's voice, because I am driving my car and you hear John talking over there, you go, that's John Lynch, and he's on the radio. So John was a truly amazing guy, and he got me into some health food stuff. Briefly, it didn't stick with me, but he had this green algae stuff, and it was in like a little, if you're in a restaurant, they give you like tartar sauce, and there's a lid on it, you pull the top off, and there's tartar, like a little cap like that, and it had green algae in it, and I was to drink this algae every day. I don't know if anybody else, raise your hand if you ever drank John's algae. Look, can you see? I drank John's algae. You had to keep it refrigerated. And I drank it, and anyway, that's all I got to say about John. He was a great guy, and he's going to be missed. He put in a lot of work to be healthy, and he was super healthy all the way.
I got one thing to say about him, if it's okay. The first time I met John was at the dance at the Moose, and I brought a girlfriend of mine. And we were sitting off to the side, and we were new meat, evidently. So John comes over to me and says, "Do you know how to three-step?" And I said, "Triple step." And I said, "I don't think so." And he goes, "Well, I can't teach you." But I said, my girlfriend, who's from New Mexico, was sitting with me. I said, "But I bet she'll do it with you." And he goes, "Fine." And he takes her, and I'm just sitting there like nothing. But as time went on, I got to know John very well, and he was our Lynch. He was our. We just loved him so much being around him. Every time I spoke with John, every time we left each other, I said, "I love you," and he said, "I love you too." And I miss John. He was such a guy. I will always love him, and I know that all of you guys realize what a sweetheart he was, and love you, John.
I got to tell you that John I've known for over 40 years probably, and he's the most wonderful guy. Laughs, terrific guy. The day before he passed, he lectured here, and I had the privilege of sitting next to Rosellen Bigger's 93-year-old nurse, and the first thing she asked him was, "I got a question." He says, "No questions, no answers." Place roared. Okay. Anyway, he gave the best lecture, wonderful lecture, and afterwards, she asked me, Rosellen did, "What did you learn?" I said, "I learned that I love John even more now than I did when I came here today." And he was just that kind of a guy. That's all I got. And I told him that, and he cried.
I'm Johnny Cash, not kidding. Hey, this was Hall. So I've never met John. I've never met him. My girlfriend has. She's known him for many years. Asked her if she wanted to say something, but she was kind of shy about the microphone. I'm not. I can say this though. He's like, I always believe that a mark of a man is telling from the people that he leaves an impression on. It's like when somebody leaves, it's like, you know, my beautiful girlfriend is like when her father passed away. I got to meet him before that. You really see is like at his passing is who actually loved him. You see is like the camaraderie. You see is like the impact that his legacy carries on. I think that's important. I was there, as my girlfriend were, it was like, unfortunately, when John had his last moments. We saw this thing, and I will say this, John's passing, there was many police officers around him. They treated him with great respect. They lined up, they had his hats. It was like they took off their hats. It was like they treated him with very, very, it was like much respect. It was like through his last moments. And I think it's like everybody probably would want to know that.
I just want to say, you never really are ready for anything like this, and I've never had to try to plan anything, but I couldn't have done this at all without some help. My mother, Marilyn, she helped greatly in helping set things up. My sisters, they also helped with organizing and decorating. I thank Pouch M for the pictures, and Marty for the videos, and John for taking pictures, Philip for live streaming, so I just appreciate everybody helping, and Catherine for the service. Appreciate it greatly.
Don't forget Jean Bell. She was up till 4 o'clock in the morning doing
Thank you, Jean Bell. If I missed anybody else, I'm sorry, but, yeah. But anyway, thank you for all coming out.
Hold on a second. Let's see. Okay, people in Zoom land, if anybody wants to speak, then do so now, but only one at a time so people can hear you, but introduce yourselves.
Sorry. Go ahead. Hello, hi. Yeah, I'm a nephew of John, Uncle John. His sister was my beautiful mother, Beverly. And I'm listening to all these great words out here. It really touches my heart to hear all that. Uncle John was always that way to all of us. You know, my sisters, I see April's out there, Melanie. He was always so interested in your personal hygiene, your personal health. And, you know, Michael, I think this was the book you were referring to. Of course, he gave me this copy, he signed it, on the Health Seekers Yearbook. We had so many great things to share, you know, with all of us about health and life, and you know, being a good person in this society. But it's so good to hear. He's going to be missed, and he's in a great place. Thanks for sharing this beautiful thing. We're happy to be here. Thanks very much.
Okay, thank you.
Come on.
Okay, now if you can mute, and then does anybody else have anything to say about John?
Hi, this is April. Uncle John, my uncle, my godfather, his eldest brother. And I have to say that sentiments, I share the same sentiments as my brother, listening to all of the lovely things that everyone's sharing about him. He's touched so many lives in so many positive ways. I have to say, as a young girl, as a teenager, he turned me on to a different philosophy about eating and about health that really so what I miss about him is his knowledge. Every time he's wanted to share wonderful knowledge, help. He also gave the greatest hugs. And I'd like to thank Mr. Michael and his mother Marilyn for putting this together and putting everyone together to celebrate his life. Thank you.
Thank you.
May I speak?
Yes?
Hello, this is Julia here. Most of you know me. John was one of the first people I met when I moved here in '89. Robbie, if you can hear and we can hear and see you.
Okay, Robbie has left, so.
Okay, so I've known him, I had massage from him, and I, like so many people here, took that class that he taught. And that was actually the beginning of, I was already beginning to think I should get a little healthier, because coming to America and eating all the wonderful quick fast food that was so cheap and so plentiful, I wasn't doing too well. So it was time to change. I went to John's class, and I have to say, it really made an impression on me, and I've known him ever since, through the raw foods, through the, always bumping into it. And yes, the truth is that he touched many, many, many people's lives, even for a moment at the stores where he went, or wherever. He really touched many, many people's lives, and I know he's going to be missed in this community tremendously. Okay, thanks. That's all from me.
Thank you. Hello?
My name is Alvin Barber, and I met John, I'd say about 43 years ago. And I think we met probably through the food co-op. And you go through life and you make friends, you meet people, and some people are just casual friends, some are good friends, and some are just a special friend. And no matter how many years you don't get together, when you get back together, it's just, you just click, and you got everything in common. And that was John and me. I always felt comfortable with him. And what a miss him really. He was a really wonderful person. Bless you, John, for all the good you did and all the things you, wonderful things you taught people. And happy trails. I'll see you again someday.
Okay, anybody else?
Can I?
Yeah. Hello?
Go ahead.
Okay, go
You
ahead.
see me? Yes, okay. So, I want to thank Bill for screaming this because I'm so much more about John today than I ever knew, and I'm so glad and grateful for everybody speaking. I've been a mess of tears here because it's just like my heart's broken, and I know we're all going to miss him. I just shoulders when he got me from he knew health and he knew there was nothing to be afraid of, and that gathering probably diminished his spirit as it did many, with people not going out and being social like he was used to doing. But he was so helpful, and so as we spent much time on the phone trying to get ready, I appreciate it so much, and I appreciate the family and getting to meet the family today, even though I'm 140 miles away. Thank you so much for doing this.
Thank you.
Can I talk? Hey, Phil, can I talk?
Yep, you may.
Hi. Phil, did you read my note yet? I just tuned in a few minutes ago.
Oh, yes, we did.
Okay, good. All right. We will miss him dearly. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Hey, Ravi, mute yourself, and then I think we got somebody else wants to speak.
Can I speak? Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yes, hi. I've known John for nearly 30 years, and I was thinking that if anybody was a saint that I ever met, it was John. John was about giving, helping, and serving in any way he could. After he passed, I was thinking how every time I spoke to him on the phone, he would greet me with so much love, like he hadn't seen me for 50 years. Craig, how are you? How are you doing? And with complete sincerity and love. I've gotten massage from John where on a couple of occasions I felt like my body wasn't even my body anymore. Like how could I've never felt, John had this healing, loving energy that you rarely find. And his energy will always be with us, because his energy is love. John is love.
Thank you. Okay, anybody else? Zoom on. Okay, thank you for your comments.
So let's just have a closing prayer as we join hands and join hearts together and just basking in the sunshine of John's love and all the love that we all feel for him, all the joyous moments that we've shared and the wonderful memories that I'm sure when we leave here, we will remember other things that we've done and said and shared with John. And we are all so blessed to have walked this path with him. We are so blessed. I am so honored to be here today, to be able to take part in this way. I am so grateful for each and every person here that has shared their heart and their joy and their love with all present. What a wonderful day. I say thank you, God. Thank you for John, this wonderful, bright, shining star who is listening to every word we're saying and enjoying it, and he will live in our hearts forever. So I say thank you, God, and thanks to all here. We are so blessed, and so it is. Amen. Thank you, everyone. I think we have some refreshments to enjoy. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, thank you all. Okay, you're welcome. Okay, we love you all. So. Yeah, thanks, Craig. Right. Be sure to have a take note. Okay. Bye. Is this the one?
And then, anybody who hadn't seen the photo?
A copy of the video.
About what John wanted to do.
Pardon me?
David said about what John said what he wanted to be, what he didn't want to be in the story. Yeah, I did you hear that one? He didn't want to be